Hey, this is Kevin with Consumer Reports, and what I've got here is the Ruger LCP II. I finished up my online review last week, and it's a 5-part review that talks about just overall summary, what's in the box, the external and operational features, internal features and disassembly, and also do range testing. And so it's a pretty in-depth, exhaustive review online. There's lots of good photos, lots of good commentary. And what I'm going to try to do here is just do a real quick overview and a real quick compare of the new Ruger LCP II against the an original version. Okay, so I'm going to run through the specs real quick on the Ruger LCP II. It's chambered in 380 auto. It's got a 6+1 capacity. It comes with a single 6-round magazine. The barrel length is 2 3/4 inches. The overall length is 5.17. The height is 3.71 with the flat floor plate. It's a little bit taller when you've got the finger extension floor plate. It does come with 2 different floor plates, and the one shown here is the one with the finger extension. The frame itself is your glass-filled nylon. It's got an alloy steel slide and alloy steel barrel, and both of them have a blued finish on it. It's got a steel guide rod, a blued steel guide rod here. The slide width is about 3/4 inch, and it's about 0.91 inches here across the grip. The sights are integrated into the slide. It's got a 1 16 inch right hand twist, 6 grooves, and the suggested MSRP on it's about $349. One of the big advantages about the Ruger LCP and the LCP II is it's so lightweight. This pistol weighed in at 10.7 ounces with the extended floor plate installed, and it was 13.0 ounces with 7 rounds of 90 grain ammunition. Which 13 ounces for a fully loaded gun with 7 rounds, that's pretty darn good. The LCP II is pretty simple for operation. There's no manual safety. This here is the slide stop or slide catch right there. So there's no manual safety. It does have a trigger safety here, and the magazine release button is on the left side for a right-handed shooter. Now, for comparison, my original version happens to be the custom model, so it's not truly the original version. The custom model had a new trigger here, which you can see in red, and it actually had some taller sights. But overall, the differences or the likenesses of the custom versus the original, I think, are close enough for this comparison. Now, one of the big things that Ruger did with this new LCP II here is they changed the trigger pull on it. The original LCP II here has more of a double action trigger pull. You can see it starts way out here, and then as you pull through, it finally breaks. Now, it's a long trigger pull. This one was coming in at a little over 7 pounds. And what you see is that you actually have a hammer that's back here, and again, it's double action. As you pull the trigger, you see the hammer going back until it reaches a point and releases. Now, for the LCP II, what you got is you still got a hammer that's back in there, and you can see just the end of it right there. But if you'll notice that the hammer is actually in a much lower position. It's up here in the original, and then it's down here further in the LCP II. So when the slide cycles, the hammer is in more of a closer to a full cock position. Now, because of the shorter trigger pull and for safety reasons, Ruger added this little trigger safety in here. And so when you pull the trigger on this gun, and it's coming in at a little over 5 pounds, there's we'll say a free take-up area right there. Alright, so you got rid of a lot of the forces there, and as you squeeze the trigger, it breaks, and it's clearly shorter than the original. And you also have an over travel stop, which you can see right there, which again it really, to me, has a much improved trigger pull than the original. I mean, you drop 2 pounds and you drop some length out of it. Now it still has a portion where there's creep to it, and you can see it. Well, it broke too quick then. Let me see here if I can do it slower. You know, you've got creep or travel through there, and in that travel portion, let's see if you can see the back of it, you're actually going to cock the hammer. You can see the hammer going down. You're going to continue to cock the hammer more. So definite improvement. The next big difference, I would say, is the width of the grip area right through here. Now, I'm going to kind of show you these two together. And what you've got the original here, and then you've got the LCP II here. And so they actually widened it up right in this area right here, which for me, it feels a lot better in my hands because I actually have bigger hands. And so I've got more width or girth around there, and it's just got a better feel. That could be a preference depending on the size of your hand, but it's got a better feel to me. Now, another significant difference between the original and the LCP II is that the original didn't have a last round hold open. You can see that when the mag's in, last round you slide pull the slide back, it doesn't hold the slide open. Where on the LCP II, it does have that last round hold open. And you know, again, you know, some of this becomes a matter of my preference, and I actually prefer that last round hold open. Now, the final significant difference, other than the obvious, you know, the obvious is that, you know, Ruger's going with a different look or a different style of the pistol. This LCP II, to me, you know, looks more along the lines of what they're going with the Ruger American pistol. You know, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's just a matter of cosmetics. But some of the cosmetics are driven by the fact that they've changed the pistol to provide some more usability. And I'll point this out. The texturing on the grip is improved on the LCP II. They changed the trigger guard area up here to give you a flat area to where you can actually, you know, if you want to wrap your finger around that when you're shooting it, then you can. And they put some texturing on there. That's, again, some people do that, some people don't. But other than the obvious, they changed the looks of it. And as they changed the looks of it, some of those were driven by enhancements or improvements that Ruger felt was the right thing to do. Now, I also want to point out that the magazine for the LCP II here is just a little bit different than the magazine for the original LCP. Now, the difference is that the original LCP, because it didn't have the last round hold open feature, the magazine has a little bit different shape. I don't know if you can tell up here in this follower region. So when you take the original LCP magazine, which will work in the LCP II, the difference is you just don't get the last round hold open. Now, as they changed the style of the gun, it was an opportunity to change the geometry of the slide. And by changing the geometry of the slide, what you're going to see here, I'm going to put these two pistols back to back. What you're going to see is, hopefully, you've got an increased sight radius on the LCP II here versus the original. And again, this is the custom version, so I don't know exactly the length for the original. I don't own one of those. I own the custom. Sights are a little bit different. But I was coming up with about a 16% increase in sight radius on the LCP II than the original. And to me, I consider that to be significant. you know, as they changed the styling, they added some serrations up here in the front. Like if you wanted to do a press check from the front, you can do that. And overall, I personally feel that this was definitely an improvement to the original. Now, I don't know if Ruger's going to continue to carry both versions. At the moment, this 2017 and their current 2017 catalog still shows both versions. I could see where the market could potentially support both versions. This, if you look at it kind of like a hammerless revolver, this is going to be more in lines of a hammerless revolver, where somebody may want a longer double action pull. You know, this over here is going to be more in line with a of what it is. Maybe you could look at it like a small striker fired as far as the trigger pull on it. But it's just a different level of comfort that somebody might have with a longer double action pull than the shorter single action pull or near single action pull. That's just a matter of preference. Now, when I range tested the new pistol here, it shot great. And if you look at my website, consumerreports.com, you know, part 5, you look at the range test. I had some really nice groups on that. And when I compared the groups with this pistol here versus the original, they were slightly better. And I think some of that was mainly because of the trigger pulls better. I mean, if you drop 2 pounds out of a trigger pull, for me personally, I can typically shoot better with a lighter trigger pull. But it shot great with the defensive ammunition. Now, I did have an issue, and honestly, I wish I would have chronographed the rounds to kind of see if they were what the energy was out of them. It shot great with Hornady Critical Defense, Hornady American Gunner, and the Winchester Training Defense. And then I had a box of Tula that I picked up from Walmart, and for some reason it was just having trouble cycling the Tula. And I'm not 100% sure why, because I didn't go through and chronograph them to see what the energy was coming out of them, but it was struggling. It cycled all the other rounds without an issue, and I was pleased with that. Now, there was one improvement that I was hoping to see in the LCP II versus the original, and it was the takedown pin here. And it's not hard to take down the pistol, but you actually have to go through and pry with a screwdriver here to pull this pin out. And you can see it on my website. I won't do it right now, but there's the leg of a spring that rests in the detent. And man, it's just to get it to move over that detent. It just seems like you got to put a lot of force, and I don't like prying against the slide because I like to keep my pistols looking as good as they can. So anyway, that's just my own personal preference, and I noted that in the review. My overall thoughts: the LCP II is a great second generation of the LCP. I can see where there may be those who want the original. The original styling is attractive. For a smaller hand, it might do better, and it's got that longer double action trigger pull, which actually my wife, she shot both of them, and she personally says she prefers the original, which is fine with me because that'll leave the LCP II for me. Ruger gives you a nice little pocket carry holster for it. It only comes with 1 magazine. I wish Ruger would give it 2 magazines. I think every pistol should have 2 magazines. That was my only real con with this pistol, and that was the same con that I had when I reviewed the original LCP II. If you're looking at buying an LCP, I highly suggest looking at my reviews, going and taking a look at my website. You'll see a bunch of high resolution photos, and going to your gun store, looking at them, and taking it to the range. See if you can rent one, check it out, and decide for yourself. If me personally, if I didn't want to go through all the trouble to do that, I would just go in and buy the LCP II. Me personally, for the shorter trigger pull, the last round hold open, the larger grips, the longer sight radius. But that would be my preference. Anyway, Thanks for watching, and as always, please like or subscribe, or do both, and I'll try to keep bringing you detailed reviews. Thanks.